The wind rolled across the north like a giant's breath, cold, sharp, and endless. Snow danced in the air, twisting and falling, and the dogs pulled the sled through white silence. Their breaths came out in puffs of steam, their paws pressing down on frozen earth. The man behind them was big and broad-shouldered, with yellow hair and sea-blue eyes. His name was Sailor Johnson, a man who had once sailed warm seas and chased whales across the Pacific, but now chased gold across the frozen land of Alaska. Beside him walked a man of another kind. His skin was copper dark. His black hair hung straight to his shoulders. His face was calm and silent, but his eyes burned like coals under frost. His name was Nas. He had come out of the snow one morning, thin, starving, close to death. He had asked only for a place by the fire and a bit of food. Johnson gave it to him. Since then, they had traveled together, quietly, steadily, along the Yukon Trail. There was something strange about Nas. He spoke little, but his word, when they came, were careful and true. He wasn't like the men of the north, the Inuits, the Dene, the coastal peoples. His face was different. His hands, though roughened now, had once belonged to a man who knew sunlight, not snow. Sailor Johnson saw this but asked no questions. It was the way of the trail. You traveled light. You didn't poke into another man's pain. But one night, when the dogs were curled in the snow and the fire snapped and popped in the wind, Nas began to speak. The aurora danced above them, green fire waving across the sky, and the snow glowed blue beneath it. His voice was slow, quiet, like the sea at night. "I come from far," he said. "Farther than any man here. Across the sea. Across many seas." He told a story then, and the wind seemed to hush as he spoke. He had been born on a warm island where the sea was blue and the trees grew thick with fruit. His people lived close to the earth and sea. They fished, built boats, and told stories by firelight. That was where he met Unga. They had been children together, playing in the surf, laughing in the sunlight. She was promised to him, and his heart belonged to her. But then a ship came. A black ship with tall white sails. A man stepped off that ship, a white man with gold hair and eyes like ice. His name was Axel Gunderson. He was loud and fearless. He wrestled men and drank strong drink and laughed like he feared nothing. The islanders were drawn to him. So was Unga. She looked at Gunderson with a kind of wonder Nas had never seen in her eyes before. And Nas hated him for it. One night, at a feast under the stars, Nas and Gunderson fought. The fire lit their faces and the drums beat like thunder. They fought with fists, hard and fast. But Nas was thrown down, broken and beaten. When he woke, the ship was gone. So was Unga. The sea called to him after that, not with its beauty, but with its distance. He would follow them, no matter how long it took, no matter how far. He would find her. And he did. He chased their shadow for years, from island to island, across the wide Pacific. He worked on ships, scrubbed decks, hauled sails, learned the white man's tongue. He slept in corners and begged for food. Sometimes, in faraway ports, Someone would say they had seen a white man with gold hair and a dark-skinned woman. But when Nas arrived, they were already gone. He followed them through America, over mountains, through cities filled with noise and smoke. And when the gold rush came, he heard their names again. Axel Gunderson and a woman called Unger, this time in the frozen north. So Nas followed, again. He found them at last in a mining camp deep in Alaska. Axel Gunderson was older now, his strength dulled by drink, but his eyes were just as cold. Unger sat silent by the fire, her face pale, her eyes far away. The firelight showed the bones in her cheeks. She looked like someone who had been waiting a very long time. Nas didn't speak. He watched. He waited. One night, when the wind was high and snow fell like ash from the sky, Gunderson came out of the tent. He was drunk and laughing. Nas stepped out of the dark and faced him. They didn't speak. They fought in silence, fists striking like axes, breath steaming in the cold. Gunderson was strong, but Nas had the cold inside him now. The years had shaped him into something harder, something that didn't break. When it was done, Gunderson lay still in the snow. Nas took Unger's hand. She did not smile. She did not cry. She followed him. They traveled together then, away from the camp, away from men, into the white wilderness, where only snow and silence lived. Nas built a shelter. He hunted. He fed her. But it had been too long. Her body was tired, her soul already drifting. One morning, she did not open her eyes. He buried her on a hilltop, under a mound of stone. The wind blew over her grave. The wolves howled from far away. He spoke to her in the old tongue, words only she and the wind would understand. Then he turned and walked on. There was nowhere to go, no gold to find, no revenge left, but the trail kept going. And so did Nas. Sailor Johnson said nothing when the story ended. The fire burned low. The dogs shifted in their sleep. Above them, the aurora still danced, green and silent. In the morning, they hitched up the sled and began again. The dogs barked and pulled. The trail lay wide and white before them, and Nas walked beside it, steady and alone. The man who had crossed half the world for love and lost everything but the will to walk on.